It's exciting to be on Nigeria Super Fans Forum to discuss all things African football. Of course, a lot went down over the weekend, and again, Ghana have won another Jollof rice war. This guy Ogundari is on the show today. I'll get to ask him which of these two countries, Nigeria and Ghana, has the best Jollof, and I think it better be as objective as it can be. So, welcome you, fans around the world, wherever you're joining us from, Ghana, Takoradi to Kumasi, wherever, Nigeria, Canada, Australia, the US, the United Kingdom. Welcome to the show. Okay, guys, let's get started. Kyle Ogundari and James, I won't forget to welcome you guys. You're welcome to the show.
No, thank you, Femi. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Femi.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's get started. Back home here in Nigeria, very, very sad weekend because Eyimba and, of course, Remo Stars, the two representatives in the CAF Champions League, they fell by the wayside, particularly Eyimba, because they were bringing just a one-goal deficit home against, of course, Al-Ahly Benghazi, and they failed. And we do not really even know the position right now of Nwankwo Kanu as regards the fate of Finidi George. I'll start with Kayode. Kayode, what do you think? A lot of Nigerians are now calling for the head of Coach Finidi George, saying that if he can't even get past the playoff for the group stages, then it means that this season Eyimba might not even go as far as maybe even the maybe semi-final or the quarterfinals. Bearing in mind that the last time I said Eyimba has maybe the best pedigree of Nigerian teams on the continent, they actually said, why did I say so? And the reason why I said so is because if you look at 2003, 2004, they won the CAF Champions League. No Nigerian team has ever done that. That was why I said so. But they couldn't even get past Al-Ahly Benghazi with just one goal deficit to cancel. They couldn't find their way.
Yeah, I think at this moment we have to be introspective. We don't have to do things because we are hurt, because the team's lost. First and foremost, you have to look at the circumstances surrounding their loss. I said, and I remember after the first leg, I said it is very, very tricky. The fact that Eyimba were able to score 3 goals, they needed just a goal. It is possible this other team, if they had scored, nothing probably would have stopped the Libya team from also scoring. Yeah, so for me, it is neither here nor there, and I don't think this should be a metric to determine Finidi's future at the team, especially except if you tell me that the only reason why he was retained as manager is because of the CAF Champions League. If that is the case, then probably he should be asked to go, but I'm not sure that's the only reason. It shows the level of our preparedness, for me. It shows the fact that our football is not tailored to help Nigerian teams to do well on the continent, for me. We have a league that is yet to start, and already our teams are playing on the continent. If they have had the opportunity of playing like a couple of games,
matches,
before, they might have, for me, all these are conjectures. We are not 100% sure what actually is the reason. We're just trying to look at what could have been. That's one. Then secondly, if you check the manner of the losses of Eyimba and Remo Stars, it could have gone either way, especially for Remo Stars. If that contentious goal had stood, Remo could have gone through. One. Secondly, when games go into penalties, Femi, the fact that Insurance qualified on penalties or that Remo lost on penalties does not tell you anything concrete, Femi. It could have been Insurance getting knocked out and Remo Stars qualifying. So these are things that we should approach with a cool head, Femi. There are a lot of things wrong with Nigerian football at the moment. Yeah, I agree, but we should not judge these teams on the basis of whether they remain in the continent or they are not. That, remember, I've always told you this, Femi, that our teams, I do not see them doing very well on the continent, and a lot of reasons are responsible for that. One, you play an abridged league that has teams playing 18 games. It doesn't really show it doesn't test the mettle of some of these teams. Femi, what is wrong? What is the reason why we cannot have a full-length league? So a lot of things would have to be checked. But well, at this time, nothing is really good enough as an answer.
Okay, Kyrie, I know you are in a very bad mood right now, but I need to ask you and see if you lose a lot of supporters. Nigeria are Jollof or Ghana Jollof. Now, Gambia are even claiming that they have the best Jollof than Nigeria now. But
Yeah,
let's leave it between
that's the
Nigeria and
thing,
Ghana.
Femi. I've even eaten Senegalese jollof in Dakar, and I tell you, Femi, for your safety and peace of mind, the best jollof is the one that is right in front of you at every point in time. If you're in Dakar, that's the best jollof. If you're in Ghana,
You're talking like a politician right
no,
now.
that's the truth, Femi. And honestly, it depends on who is eating and who is cooking. That would determine whether the jollof is good or not. But for me, I do not see the need for the controversy. Whatever plate of jollof is right in front of me at every point in time is the best jollof.
Okay, James, you and I have not eaten Ghana Jollof, so maybe when we do, we'll be able to pass our own judgment. But let's talk about Remo Stars. James, is their first time in the CAF Champions League, their debut, and were you disappointed? Though they lost on penalties, and if that goal had stood, they would have possibly qualified. But were you disappointed? They had just one goal. They needed two goals actually against Medema. But how would you react to Remo's failing to qualify for the next phase?
Well, good. I know that it's kind of a heartbreak, because they were so close. But I don't know. Even if that goal, that contentious goal, who says Medema wouldn't have gone ahead to even score to make it 2-1 and go ahead to qualify? The way it goes through. So it's so unfortunate that they couldn't go through that penalty. And once again, Ghanaians have the bragging right over Nigeria, whether national team or club sides. Yeah, I remember even the under 20.
Jollof Rice won.
Jollof Derby, even the under 20, was it Wafu Women's, and they defeated Nigeria in the final. So they have our number, So for me, the thing is, I had this opportunity of, I watched the Super Six that was held in Lagos. I had the opportunity of seeing these teams play. For me, even a lot of ex-internationals, and a lot of people are not that confident in the team going into the continent because of the way teams plan. They were not too convinced that these teams will go far, and I'm not too surprised too. I had the opportunity of seeing them for close quarters, and but I don't know. It's just a reflection of what is really happening now. This is not the first time. It has been going on for a very long time. The last time the Nigerian team got to the final was 2010. That was Atlant 2010 CAF Champions League. Since then, it's either they drop out from the preliminary stage, the first round, second round, or maybe they manage to get to the group stage and they crash out. So these three teams now, the two teams that is not a new thing. It's something that has been happening, and we have a lot of work to do, honestly. I would have loved for a team like Remo to have gone through, because I've been following them. I've had the opportunity of being at their stadium, and Femi, that club they are doing marvelously well. I'm telling you, if you're talking about being a professional football club,
Facility.
I think Remo Stars, they are doing very well. Everything there. The tournament is really doing something, So you want clubs like that to do well on the continent. But I mean, it's a good experience for them, and hopefully they'll be able to get back to the continent, and who knows, they will go further than this. Remember how Imba started in way back when, I think with their first experience on the continent, they got knocked out in the first round. Then from there, they took it up and they went on. So I hope and they will not allow this to be a kind of a setback for them. I believe they have what it takes to improve and do well next season if they qualify for the continent.
Hopefully, Coach Daniel Gumodede and of course Mr. Kunle Shoname will take a lot of lessons from this. James, I'll still stay with you. Let's talk about Bendel Insurance because of time now. After 34 years on the continent, it seems that they might likely get to the group phase of the CAF Confederations Cup against all expectations. If you ask me, or if you ask a lot of people, they will tell you that out of these three teams, they will tell you that possibly Insurance might be the team that wouldn't go through. But of course, against Asoclef, the goalkeeper, Amas Obasogi, was the hero because he saved them during the game. He kept them in the game. And during the shootout, he also saved penalties. And some people are even saying, why can't you bring this guy to the national team? But let's talk about Bendel Insurance. Were you surprised that they made it through against Asoclef?
For me, I see, Femi, this is the thing I'm saying. There is a thin line between Insurance and Remo Stars. They both scored the minimum required, got a goal back. Okay, Remo got a goal back. They went into penalties. Eyimba were able to manage to limit themselves to conceding just a goal or a win. Algeria, it went to penalties. And like I've always said, Femi, once a game goes into penalties, I get out of the way because I feel it's no longer in your hands. So whether you win or you lose is not a function of what you have done over 90 minutes or 120 minutes. The penalty shootout could go either way. So on the basis of that penalty shootout victory alone, I would not say Insurance have done excellently well. No, they've done the minimum required to go through. And I know that the players, fans, and officials will not want to relieve that tension again. So they are likely going to go up against another North African team. Hopefully, they would have learned some valuable lessons now that will help them. But Femi, the truth is, I remember during the Super Six, I asked some colleagues, especially George Appiah, I remember, a veteran of the league. I asked him, I said, George, all the teams that you've seen play so far, by the standard of the football you have seen display, what do you think are our chances when we go to the continent? He said, bros, is a discussion I would rather we don't have. That was what he said. So that's why I'm not surprised at what is happening now. Femi, we are still not ready for continental football. We are just contented making up the numbers. Oh, we have qualified for CAF Championship. We've qualified for CAF Confederations Cup. We are not competing to win. We are just competing to make up the numbers for now, Femi. And it's something that we keep seeing every year. If there is going to be a reversal, it has to come from the top down. The NFF must be involved. The LMC must be involved. They must draw up a timetable, a league timetable in such a way that it helps the team. By the time the CAF Champions League, the CAF competitions come around, the team would have been like, they would have played like 5-6 games into the season. Not this one that they will be. See, Femi, if you don't play competitive football, you can, if you like, you can play 1,000 friendly matches. It's not. It's the same as.
It's not the same as competitive.
Yeah, so that's why I said the clubs can do whatever they have to do, but then they must have that support, which they don't have.
Okay. I think for me, my worry is even that 3 of the 4 teams that played in the continent or that were supposed to play in the continent this season, they are government owned. Only Remo Stars is privately owned. So for me, that is a big worry. Okay, now let's go to other issues. 13 days to our final AFCON qualifier against Automi and Principe. There is a report from a former BBC reporter who says that Jose Peseiro is done with Nigeria because it seems that he hasn't agreed or did not agree with the NFF over a negotiation for him to reduce his $70,000 monthly salary. And he said it's the reason why the NFF hasn't been able to come around to tell Nigerians that we are going to be having a local coach take charge of that game. Did this come as a surprise? I'm sure you must have come across that report, but is this a surprise to you at all?
To be honest, it is not new to me. And I think it shouldn't be new to anybody who has been paying close attention to Nigerian football since Peseiro was appointed. I remember when he was appointed, I told you, Femi, I said, Peseiro is just in the band of managers that would take the Nigerian job. It is a poison chalice. No self-respecting coach will touch the Nigerian job at the moment, Femi. I'm being very honest with you. No self-respecting coach will touch Nigerian job. Peseiro took it because he's used to our working conditions, being hold salaries.
I remember your God, yeah.
chaos. Yes, all of this. Now it has played full circle. Peseiro is going. I don't know whether it is a Peseiro that is done with Nigeria football or Nigerian Football Federation now that is done with him. Either way, one of them is done with each other. Peseiro is leaving or Peseiro is going to be sacked. The fact is that we are back to where we started. What it means is we could have done without a Peseiro. Now, whether they are sacking him or he's leaving, have they paid him his outstanding balances?
$250,000. I was going to talk about that.
That's the problem. Now, Femi, consider yourself a manager, self-respecting manager, and then you are offered the Nigerian job. You will ask yourself,
280,000.
That's what I'm saying. Whether it's 250, whether it's 280, ask yourself, if you're a self-respecting manager, will you take the Nigerian job as it is now? You are not sure of being paid, your salaries. You are not sure. You know that your employers are people who are notorious for not keeping agreements. You know that they will hold you, they will humiliate you, they will drag you through the mud. Is that the kind of job you want to take?
Okay, Kyle, let me ask James now. James, are you back now? Oh, okay. Sadly, James, this network has really been betraying him this morning. But Kyle, let's talk about it. Would you blame the current NFF administration, because your man Pinnick threw us into all of this mess? Perhaps if this administration had come on board before Peseiro's appointment, perhaps they would have negotiated on a salary that would be comfortable for them, not something that was imposed on them literally.
Femi, I do not make a distinction between this administration and the previous one. This is an adjunct of the Pinnick years. It is just an extension. It is Pinnick's third term by another name. So whatever is happening now, everybody, even the blind, can see that it is as a result of the carryover of the dirty antics of the Pinnick years that we are witnessing now, no matter how they try to whitewash it. And the fact is, Femi, they cannot say anything because Pinnick was instrumental in getting them into office. That's where it is. One, Femi. Secondly, the Pinnick that went around boasting that the NFF was 92% self-sufficient, 95% self-sufficient, all of a sudden, under 1 year, they are not able to pay coaches. They are not able to meet their financial obligations. So what kind of financial independence do you call that? So for me, I will repeat this for me. For those who have chosen not to listen, or those who are hearing me for the first time, the NFF job is a poison chalice. No self-respecting manager would touch this job. No, we can keep on ranting about having the best collection of players in Africa. We have Osimhen, we have this, we have that. If we continue with this NFF, with their mindset, the archaic mindset, the way they do things, we are not going anywhere. Femi, I bet you go and bring Pep Guardiola. He's not going to do it to make any difference.
Okay. Of course, we also heard that they are still negotiating with Randy Wardrum, also on reduced terms. That is the news. So even as it were now, the Falcons do not even know who will take charge of their next month's Olympic qualifier. It's that bad. But I think we need to ask Amaju Pinnick a lot of questions regarding the financial operations of the NFF when he was in charge. Now, Kade, please, let's talk about Ghana now. James is still trying to join us. James, please let us know when you're back. Now, the GFA Secretary General said that the technical crew are working behind the scenes to make sure that the Black Stars assemble a quality side for the game against Central African Republic. Remember, that game is just next week Thursday. So just about a week's time, and about 3 days. Kayode, do you think the quality side is what Ghana need going into this game, or a winning team? You know, you can have the players with all the names. It's different from having the right set of players. You can have players who are not ready to give all fast, but you need players at this time, players who will be ready to fight for that badge at this time because of how crucial this game is. Remember, the Black Stars need at least a draw. A defeat might likely spell doom.
Femi, I'm going to answer this by throwing back a question at you, Femi. which of these players do you think or honestly does not want to win this game? Which of them do you think would not want Ghana's flag to be at the AFCON? Which of them would not want to play at the AFCON? Femi, they are not doing Ghana a favor by winning that match. They are doing their career a whole lot of good. They are, first and foremost, before they became football players, before they started representing Ghana, they were first and foremost football fans. They know the joys of winning and the agony of defeat. So when we say this, we reduce the players' emotional worth by thinking some of them may not give all of their all. No. Number one, they are professional players. A lot of things could be responsible for why teams lose games and everything, but not the fact that they do not understand the import of winning this game. And Femi, when you talk about this game and how important it is that they must not lose, and I ask who is the opposition, and it's not Brazil, it's not France, it's not any of the big teams, but you expect us to be afraid that Madagascar will be coming to town. There's a very big problem with Ghana football then. If Madagascar stands between them and the AFCON ticket and we are afraid, I'm not saying they should be complacent, Femi. No, don't get me wrong. But it is Madagascar that should be scared, not Ghana. It is Madagascar that should be scared that they are going to play Ghana in Ghana. Not the other way around. So for me, the players know the import. They know what is expected of them. And I'm sure that come that day, they're going to do their nation proud.
Okay, let's talk about Mohamed Kudus. Finally, 42 million euro move to West Ham is now sealed. But West Ham beat Chelsea and Brighton to his signature. A lot of Ghanaians said they would have wanted him to go to Chelsea, because of the pedigree of the club in English football as well as in Europe. But Kayode, what do you think? Is it better if he had gone to Chelsea, or will it be better if he had gone to Chelsea or go to a West Ham where it's guaranteed regular football? Very quickly.
Well, the truth is, he's not guaranteed regular football in West Ham either. He has to work to be in the first team at West Ham. That's a bit insulting on the Hammers and the team that the manager has been able to put together. I mean, I've always said that there's an hierarchy of teams in the Premier League. They are the top 6 that we all know. Then the next 6, Aston Villa and West Ham are the leaders of the next 6 after the top 6. So they are a pretty decent side. You saw how they convincingly beat Chelsea, how they convincingly beat Brighton. Brighton, that before that game I was a bit scared that these Brighton lads are a very dangerous time. But West Ham cancelled them out. So for me, whether he went to Luton Town or he went to Chelsea, he has to fight to get into the first team, because this
Luton
is already,
Kudus will literally walk into Luton Town.
I do not agree with you, Femi. He could get into the team, but he has to work to maintain his stay in the first team.
I would
rather he goes to West Ham than go to Chelsea. If he does well at West Ham, which I hope he is able to, then the bigger clubs will come for him. That's a natural. It's given that the bigger teams will come if he does well at West Ham. So I think it's better to get introduced into English football at this level. The level of the burden of expectation is a little bit lower than if he had gone to Chelsea. You understand? And at Chelsea, a bad season could spell a bad curve for his career. Look at what Modric is going through at Chelsea. Modric has not suddenly become a bad player, but he got into the team at the wrong time, and that's why everybody thinks so. And he may never recover that, Femi. You and I count the number of players who have gone to a team like that at the wrong time, and they never recovered their reputation. Not that he's suddenly a bad player. So for me, I am happy that he has moved there. The fact that he's going to play in West Ham and play in the Premier League every week will also improve his game. Whereas in the English Premier League is several steps higher than the Dutch league. So for me, it's a step in the right direction for Kudus. There's no need to rush.
Ghanaian fans, please let us know, do you think Kudus made the right move? Would you have loved to see him at Chelsea? Please let us know in the comment section. Kayode, as we round off now, it's like James might likely not be joining us again. Let's talk about Moses Katumbi, the TB Masembe president. Last week, James and I talked about this issue, but he's been talking about running for the president of DR Congo once again. And he said a lot of his friends, people who supported him to take that challenge. Currently in jail, but he said he's not deterred this time. But Kayode, how do you marry? That is the debate online. How do you marry the ambition of running a one-time one of the biggest teams on the continent? Because really, TB Mazembe are not where they used to be currently. Then managing such a club and running for the country's presidency, how do you manage that together, Kayode, rather?
Femi, the way I say it is, if he had professionally run TP Mazembe, there won't be a need to be afraid of whether he's able to run for the presidency of the country, because that means with or without his presence, the team should have been running smoothly, even in his absence. But if he was the kind of handsome manager that wants to be involved at every step of the running of the football club, then that could really be a problem if he answers to go run for the presidency of the country, because these are two different levels of expectations and demands on his time and his resources. But for me, TP Mazembe may not be doing particularly well at this time, but they have shown over the period of time that they have a system, they are a decent team, pedigree-wise, and they have the resources and they are to see get back onto where they used to be in the continent. But it all depends on his man management skills. If he has the organization in place to run the team, even in his absence, then we shouldn't fret over whether he's able to leave the team to go run for the presidency.
Okay, so we wish Mr. Moise Katumbi all the best. Kayode, thank you for your incisive analysis on the show today.
Thank you, Femi. Always a pleasure.
Of course, we are getting our fingers crossed, monitoring, of course, the handles of the GFA regarding when the camp of the Black Stars will open. Hopefully, we hope that at least if there's going to be local players that will be invited to the camp, at least they will be expected to begin to arrive the camp this week, at least the beginning of this week, because of course, the Bepa Premier League has not begun. That is another issue on its entirety, because remember there is a motion that has been filed in court against the commencement of that league. So the Black Stars, we are wishing them all the best. And of course, Cameroon are also yet to qualify for the 2024 AFCON. They have a make-or-match game against Burundi. So a lot of pressure on Samuel Eto'o and Rigobert Song. If Cameroon fails to qualify, pick that ticket, I think that might just be the final nail on the coffin of Samuel Eto'o as the president of the FECAFO. So we'll get our fingers crossed on some of this issue. James Agbero will be so sorry that the audio did do a strong thing this morning. But of course, later in the week, we'll be back together. So to our fans around the world, thank you for keeping faith with Nigeria's Fans Forum. We appreciate you so much. We'll see you all later in the week. Bye for now.